Weaponry. The ancient tools of battle. Power. The light of the future. Power-charged weaponry of futuristic armed forces comes in many stylish variations. Their usage is simple. Stab the bullet holes. But their colors are more numerous than Earth's rainbows. Woo! We say that because life is a ride. Greetings, Chromatic Warriors! I've been dipping into the game of Infinity again, as some of you know, and I haven't played it in years. In the past, I was playing during the 3rd edition, I sat the entire 4th out, and now they're up to 5th edition, and that seems like a good fit in these present times. They call me Mr. 5. So far, I've only gotten 1 game in, but I'll be playing soon, and my intention is to play the Military Orders faction, which is, playstyle-wise, that's something different for me. They're more of a, heavily armed to the teeth kind of elite faction, and I usually play the more numerous, disposable, nobody kind of factions. As I've been testing variations of my intended Grimfinity scheme on a trio of knight commanders, I took the opportunity to zazz up their power weapons in a low, medium, and hard difficulty setting. Sword the first. In this approach, I'll be using a sponge. Originally, this idea came to me when I was working on a Necron combat patrol a while back, but I've always wanted to kind of pull it out of that video and place it into its own. So, let's get into it. We'll start with the most simple and effective. So I've got my little spongy tipper, and I just want to create a little bit of a chaos. Have it, kind of escalating or, converging to a certain point. Let's try to create a sort of somewhat wavering effect. It's going to become more dense at these 2 points. And after a little spongy chaos, come in with some brushwork. Not every area is accessible. I want to have some power glow near the base, the tip of the sword. Also pick out the edges. When that is all dry, I have a thinned down coat of Wicked Pink. I'm going to lay just a nice, thin, even sheet of tint. One could make the argument for using ink for this or a wash. I've done it with an airbrush in the past, but today I'm trying it with a brush. And the idea is to just get a nice, even coat. Just tinting everything uniformly. Very nice. Alright, nothing to it. I've added a little bit of white in with the Wicked Pink. And just wherever the kind of power clusters are gathered most densely, make things a little bit more bright, adding to the crackling fury. Let's pick some out along the edge of the blade as well. Sure, you could edge highlight or just pick it out with dots. Depends how difficult you want this to be for yourself and how much time you want to invest. So just throw a slight edge highlight to satisfy curiosities, but leave most of it to breathe inside of the dots, the power clusters. Ooh, and one more fun little touch just to imply more of that radiant glow. I'm going to throw some Wicked Pink right down by the blade as if it's casting a little bit of light onto the floor. Neato. Good job. And now that you've completed that sword, lift it and be proud. Lift your little sword and press the like button as you slash downward to the helpful links below. I'll wait. Thanks. Sword the second. Oh, the memories she conjures. This approach has been in my arsenal for a while, but a recent memory involves me using it on Lionel Johnson. I pronounced his name wrong in that video. I thought it was Johnston. I thought Johnson was, Anyways, let's have a look at that sword. Okay, next we're going to make a little hybrid of the real steel and powered weapon. So first, over a base coat of cobalt metal, I'm applying a little shadow. This is mixed from black and cobalt metal. Just keeping it towards the bottom of the blade.
throw a little bit on the side here. I'm kind of acknowledging a little bit of a non-metallic metal approach, applying some flatter shadows, just controlling where that metallic flake is acting up ever so slightly. Next up, I have Fiery Vermillion combined with a little bit of black. It's kind of setting a very faint red influence a little bit into these shadows, ever so slightly. Next up, let us apply the finest edges of Mithril. Very sharp, true metallic metal highlight in place. Let's also blend just a little bit down towards the tip. Next, I'll be applying some pure Fiery Vermilion, just adding, the faintest amount into these deeper areas that I've created. There isn't really much room to create lightning bolts, so I'll just create a kind of a power influence. But on the flat of the blade, let's get a little bit of some lightning coursing downwards. I just want sort of a crackling beginning at the hilt, at the source of the power. Just remember, less is more on small touches like this. It's easy for the imagination to apply it to the rest of the figure. We just need to offer a little bit of information for the brain to work with. Next, we'll apply just the smallest amount of glowing Inferno, just adding a little dimension to the lightning. Everywhere there's a small intersection or a crackle and pop, just going to add a little bit of a dot or slash glowing Inferno. Alright, and it might look a little abrupt having the opaque paint on top of the gloss metallic. So coming in with some diluted red ink, kind of unify the finish and just polish everything off. Sword pun unintended, but acknowledged.
Saul the Third, causing crackling lightning of beauty. This approach will take a little bit of precision, but nothing is impossible or you wouldn't see it there. I believe in you.
And finally in line, we have the coursing, crackling sword. Over a base coat of black and deep azure, I'm now laying down pure deep azure and just setting up some of those, larger channels of power, picking out my edge highlights and roughly blending up to these two progressions. Now you can see what I'm after. With that deep azure, I'm going to draw my lightning pattern in place. It's almost an aquamarine sort of pattern. I'm going for that all over crackle, and it does kind of look like water. If that helps you get your mind right. Following along after that, I'll be lining out the same pattern with Talisman Teal. I can add a little bit to it as well. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Maybe where some of these intersections are, I can drop a dot, but you can see in the brighter areas where the deep azure is, that line work is barely visible. The Talisman Teal becomes much more numerous. And I'll be dropping some edge highlights in there as well. Just trying to gradiate those as well, focusing on saturation, building it up over those brighter channels we were establishing at the beginning. And for the finisher, let's bring some Amulet Aqua in very, very scant amounts, pressing ever so lightly, having a nice effect. And here and there with this color, I'll add a little dot as well. I think it just adds to the density, the concentration of power at the base. Yeah, those little dots kind of help to populate things in a more meaningful way. And you know what? One more thing, just to get a little sassy. I'm pulling in very diluted Gothic blue, which is this cool purple tone. Yeah, it only adds to this nice turquoise aquamarine power weapon. Very powerful stuff.
Oh, in the end, these three knights stand unified in dress, but showing their personalities through powered weapons. Give me a 360. What do these weapons say about these knight commanders' personalities? I'd like to hang out with Pink Sponge Guy, but that's just me. I like fun, and I hope you liked these three blades and find use for them in your quest of championship. There will be more to explore in the world of Infinity as I gather my forces and rework my old set of scenery. So, again, hope you enjoyed this. Thank you for watching. Always feel free to let me know how you feel in the comments section down below. And until we meet again, my friend, remain unchained.